everyone, my name is Desiree, aka Teacher Des. I am a VIPKid teacher and level 1 enthusiast. I am making this video today because of the overwhelmingly positive response I received for my level 1 prop setup. I love teaching level 1 and this system has saved me so much time, so much headache, so much prep work, and I'm so excited to share it with you today. I have received hundreds of requests for an all-inclusive, printable level 1 prop file that is in the works, and I will let everyone know when it is available. What I have in the meantime is a do-it-yourself guide for my level 1 system so that you can get started finding and printing your own props for each country. I have created a pictorial checklist to go along with this guide. I have attached it down below. It is a 12-page document, 1 page per unit with the miniature version of the images that I use for each country. If you are a seasoned level 1 teacher, then the checklist should be all you need to find and print your own images. You will notice that there are duplicate images for different units, and I did this so that you had a fully complete grab and go system and you don't have to go rummaging through different countries for different props. If you are newer to level 1 and want a little bit more guidance as to how to get everything set up so that you are fully prepared no matter what lesson you are thrown into, then stay tuned. I'm going to be going briefly through each unit, giving some sizing recommendations for different pictures depending on the role that they play within each lesson. Some props that I use for every single lesson in level 1, and the very, very minimal 3D props that I use for level 1. Ta-da! Here it is, my level 1 prop system. This has been such a lifesaver. I love that I don't even have to look at a lesson until about 30 seconds before I'm about to teach it and still be fully prepared. You need 3 things to get started: a color printer, a laminator, and an over-the-door shoe organizer. I will post the link for this one below. I just got it at Walmart for around $10. And then I labeled each pocket with a different country from the level 1 unit. I use the country name. The units are often labeled with the number though, so you might want to consider doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until you get used to which units are which country so that it makes it a little bit more mindless when you go to grab. Okay, let's talk props. The first thing that I would recommend you do is print out the pre-VIPKid characters. I have attached this file down below as well, and the good news here is that all of the characters are sized and ready to print, so all you have to do is cut them out and laminate them. There are a handful of props that I use for every single lesson in level 1. I either keep them right here next to my computer or tacked up on my wall so I never have to go hunting for them. First thing that I use is some sort of how old are you visual aid. I like the birthday cake with the candles. I think it really helps make a connection for the kid what I'm asking. Next thing I have is an alphabet chart. Starting in Unit 4, almost every single lesson other than checkpoints and assessments have an opportunity for them to sing their ABCs. So I always hold this up so they know what I'm asking. Next we have, of course, Dino. Dino doesn't show up a whole lot in level 1, which is kind of surprising, but occasionally he'll pop up on different slides, and I like to have him pop in to say hello because the kids love him. And then most importantly, you have Meg and Mike. It is their trip around the world, so they are at the beginning of every lesson, and they are also throughout each unit interacting with the different VIPKid characters. So at the beginning of every single lesson for level 1, it starts with Meg and Mike. And then I grab my plane. In China! Yay, Meg and Mike in China. Yay! Okay, Unit 1 is China. Our characters are Lee and his mom and dad. The pictures that I have on the China page, there's a lot of animals because Unit 1 is a lot of animal noises and different sounds. You do not have to print out every single animal. TPR works just fine for most of them. I do like to have them printed out. I tend to go a little bit overboard when it comes to the printable props. When I first started, I actually printed out and laminated pictures of hands doing rock, paper, scissors before realizing that my hands were a lot easier to use. So Don't feel like you have to have a picture for every single thing in the lesson. You don't. If a TPR is your jam, go with the TPR. The two things on here though that I highly recommend that you print out, and probably in a larger size, are the panda and the noodles. The food lesson is all about noodles and the science lesson is all about the panda. Other than that, Unit 1 has a lot of movement and TPR ready lessons. So there's Tai Chi, there's climbing up, not anything that you would need a visual prop for. Unit 2 is Mongolia with Saran. Say hi, Saran. Unlike Unit 1, I would recommend that you print out all of the pictures on the Mongolia page. However, they don't all need to be the same size. So briefly, I'm going to cover which pictures are unit vocabulary, so you'll want them a little bit bigger, and which ones are used for phonics and sounds, so those ones don't have to be as big because you're just using them to throw up real quick while you're introducing different sounds. Saran's yurt is a big part of one of the first lessons in Unit 2, so you want to make this one a little bit bigger. You're talking about him eating and sleeping in his yurt. The food lesson is about a cow that gives milk and a cup of milk. So the cow, milk, and cup, want to make it a little bit bigger because it is unit vocabulary. The science lesson is about riding a horse, riding a camel, and not riding an eagle because we can't ride an eagle. So make these a little bit bigger as well because you can't ride a horse if he's tiny. You can't ride the horse anyway. Everything else on here is phonics. So apple, octopus, elephant, ice boy, cube. I think I put the turtle on here because there's a section about being fast and slow. So that's a little, this is an extra, you don't have to use it. You can go fast and slow all on your own using your TPR. So that's Mongolia. Okay, next we have Unit 3, New Zealand. Our characters are Lonnie and Nico. We have 2 characters for this unit. I'll start with the unit vocabulary. So these are the pictures that you'll want to make nice and big. Starting with the kiwi bird. The kiwi bird has an entire lesson, and obviously it is a big part of New Zealand's culture, so this is a good prop to have on hand. The food for this lesson is like yams and fish. I have 2 types of fish on here, one that's alive and smiley and happy, and then one that's cooked. So you can have, I didn't want to use a happy fish for the food portion. So up to you what you want to do with that. Lesson 3 is all about being fast and slow. So I put a tortoise and a hare on here. Again, TPR works just fine for that. Everything else is used for phonics. So fan, book a bathroom, jam. One thing that you absolutely do not need to print off, and I just threw them on here for extra in case you wanted them, is the boy and the girl. Unit 3 is pretty heavy on, are you a boy, are you a girl? And you already have Megan, Mike, and Lonnie and Nico. So you don't have to print off a boy and a girl that nobody knows anyway. So that's Unit 3. Unit 4, we go to Jamaica with Ian. Hello, Ian. There's a lot of talk about how long Ian's hair is. I have long hair, so I use my own hair. There's a section about long and short hair, so you can use Mike for short hair if you have to. For the vocabulary, the fish and the crab are unit vocabulary. Bicycle, I made my bicycle pretty big, and then I have these mini versions of Meg and Mike that I can, here, I'll just show you. Sorry. Get on the bike. Get off the bike. And hint, hint, if you teach lessons, if you teach levels 2 and 3, these are my Meg and Mike for the assessment game board. Ta-da! Multitasking. The food section is chicken, rice, and juice. And the drum is a big one. You play the drum a lot. I boom, boom, boom on my laminated drum. The surfer guy, don't feel like you have to print this out. That's a good opportunity for TPR. I'm surfing the waves. Surf the waves. But it's there if you want it. And the Frisbee, this might be a good opportunity to have a 3D prop. I use a printed prop and it always seems a little bit silly to hold up a printed out Frisbee. Otherwise, everything else on here is phonics. Next up, Unit 5 is India. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but we have Namit. That's how I say it. It might be Namit. I should look into it. If anybody can correct me on that, that would be great. So I won't be teaching the children wrong. For the vocabulary, we have curry. That's part of the food, curry rice, and sweet and spicy. So those play a big role even in the unit song. You also want to have some colors available: yellow, purple, pink, and blue. There's a whole unit just on colors. Also, there's a whole unit where you make a paper plane. So have a piece of paper handy. I have one, I threw it during the lesson. I have one that is all folded up because I use the same piece of paper every single time. One recommendation that I have for a 3D prop, I have the Melissa and Doug puppets, and there's a whole lesson on the elephant. So I pop up my elephant puppet. If you don't have or want to invest in something like that, then just make sure to make the elephant nice and big. The feet are on here. There's a section about washing your hands, which I just do TPR for, but I'm not bringing my feet up to the camera, so I have some feet on here. Everything else is phonics. There you go. Next up, we have my favorite unit, Unit 6. It is Kenya, and we go to Kenya with Thato. I called him Thato for the longest time, and then I got the sound bite at the end of one lesson where he says, "Hello, my name's Thato." So, whoops. Okay, for the vocabulary, we have Thato's hut. And for the food, we have beans and corn. There's a lot of, do you like beans? Do you like corn? And the moon and the stars. And the colors blue and yellow. You play what's in the box for the game in this lesson. So have these handy to hold up so the kids know what you're asking. Then you have an elephant, an ostrich, and a lion. Elephants and ostriches and lions live in Kenya. You go on a safari in one of the lessons, so these are a big part of that. And they are also in the unit song. The rest is phonics. Okay, next up we go to Egypt, Unit 7 with Ali. This is a fun unit. Vocabulary: earrings, pyramids, camel, bread, dip, mummy. The snake and lion, they're used in the slides to represent big and small, so you can do what you want with that. The coin, there is a coin. I would recommend, I use a 50-cent piece, because you have to flip it and play heads or tails for the game in this unit. So having something paper and printed wouldn't really work for that. So I do have it actual coin where I can go heads, tails. Everything else is phonics. Unit 8 is Italy with Anna and Alberto. That's not Anna and Alberto, that's Chloe and Pierre. We have Anna and Alberto. So in Italy, the vocabulary is pizza, cheese, soccer ball. All the kids call it a football. I try to make it sound like, oh, we call it a soccer ball, but they're gonna call it a football. TV, boat, mushrooms, that shows up in the food section. Cheer, cheer, I hear a cheer. The cat, whatever cat you print out, make sure it has visible ears and a visible tail, because that's part of the science lesson. So you count the ears and you count the tail. One, I see one tail. So make sure that the tail is visible. And then fountain and carriage. There is an entire lesson about the carriage and the fountain and what you hear. So make those bigger. The rest are phonics, so you can keep them on the smaller side. Now we have France Unit 9 with Chloe and Pierre. The vocabulary for this unit. We have a short purple hat and a tall yellow hat. I'm going to change this before I post, I think, so it's not a pimp hat though. So I'll change it. And then the food is strawberry chocolate, pancakes, and sugar. Yummy. And we have a carousel and lights. The frog, he is the science section, so make him nice and big. The rest is phonics. I'm trying to remember why I put the cat on here. I think it might have just been review. And the bread. I think it was review from the previous. So you don't have to make those as big. Okay, next is the USA with Kim. Hello, Kim. The vocabulary for this unit is hamburgers and hot dogs. Obviously, it's America. The ball. You go to the zoo and you see a snake. I made him so little on here, but make him nice and big when you print him out. Because the snake, you go to the zoo, you see a snake, he bites and he shakes his rattler. So that's what you can do with TPR. The alligator, he's not for phonics, he's for spelling, because they're starting to drag and drop the first letter of a couple words in the next couple units. So you don't have to have an alligator if you don't want. I like having one because I live in Florida and they're everywhere. So the rest is phonics. Okay, next up is Mexico with Miguel. Hello, Miguel. There is a section about freckles. I don't have anything for freckles. I just go like this. Miguel does not have freckles, but Meg and Mike do. So there's plenty to show on the slides about what freckles are and who has them. For the vocabulary, hat, jacket, and boots, piñata, and candy. The food section is a cup of hot chocolate, and you also talk about things that smell good and things that don't smell good. So if you have a pair of stinky shoes nearby, kids love it when you smell your stinky sneakers. And then any other food items that you have lying around, you can use that to help demonstrate smelling good. I think I said candy already. The birthday cake, there's a whole section about a birthday cake. And the jaguar, he's the science lesson. So you talk about the jaguar and his spots, so make him nice and big. Okay, and that brings us to our final unit in level 1. It is Peru with Juanito. You will notice that this is the most cluttered page that I have put together, and that is because it is the last unit, so there's a lot of review from the phonics sounds that the kids have learned in prior units. The vocabulary, the drum and the flute, the potatoes and eggs, that's the food unit. The science unit is about the llama. It's all about him chewing and spitting. I hate doing that TPR, but it's part of the lesson, it's the material, so I just gotta do it, I guess. Colors down at the bottom, they're the same colors from the India unit. So again, you don't have to print out these little splats that I used, but have some items nearby for each of the colors. You play I Spy as the game in this unit. So the more things that you can show the kids for them to associate with each color, it'll help them understand quicker. The rest is phonics. Okay, so that's it. That is my guide to level 1 props. I really hope that this has been helpful for both seasoned level 1 teachers and the newbies that might just be starting out with the little bows. I am still gonna work on putting together the ready to go printable props. So if you don't want to go through all the trouble of hunting down your own pictures, give me a little bit of time and I will have that ready to go hopefully soon. It was a little bit bigger of an endeavor than I had anticipated, but it's in the works. Otherwise, if you have any questions about the different props, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, shoot me an email, teacherdez@gmail.com. I am happy to help. If you are just starting out with VIPKid, I am also happy to help you with any questions about the hiring process as well. So please do not hesitate to contact me. Additionally, I am going to do the same thing that I did with level 1 props with trials. So keep an eye out for that. Trials can be very daunting because they can switch on you like that. So the more prepared you can be, the less anxiety you'll have towards the trial lessons, especially as they're adding new ones. I got thrown into a Starlight trial without ever even looking at the slides and just had to go with it. So I'm hoping that I can put something together so everybody is prepared for whatever trial lesson is thrown at you. So thank you so much for all of your positive messages, and I hope that this helps you all in the future. Thank you so much, guys.